we will now go to our next speaker na ang sabi nga ay may Green Legislative Agenda. So magandang mapakinggan din natin to. And we have the Deputy Executive Director of Center for Energy, Ecology, and Development to talk about this, Attorney Avril De Torres.
Good afternoon po, Ma'am Tessa, at sa lahat ng mga... Yes, good afternoon po. Good afternoon din po sa lahat ng mga colleagues, mga kaibigan na nandito rin no, sa ating forum this afternoon. I'm speaking in lieu of our Executive Director, Jerry Arances, who unfortunately could not join us this afternoon. Very happy po to be able to join. Allow me to share my screen, no? Ayan. Ang SEED bilang bahagi ng Green Agenda ay honored to share what's the Green Legislative Agenda. Ito po ay mga listahan ng panukala no, na identified ng iba't ibang miyembro ng Green Agenda na para sa amin, ito yung mga magsusulong nung ipinaliwanag ni Sir JB earlier na ating Green Agenda nga. No? So allow me to read one by one itong mga proposed bills. The National Land Use Act, Sustainable Forestry Management Bill, Indigenous and Community Conserved Areas, Alternative Minerals Management Bill, Rights of Nature Bill, Freedom of Information Act, Climate Accountability Bill, Ratification of the Basel Ban Amendment, Ban on Coal-Fired Power Plants, immediate phase-out of coal-fired power plants, a legislative review of coal-fired power plants and coal operating contracts, Ecocide Prevention Law, Human Rights Defenders Bill, climate-specific legislation committed to 1.5 degree ambition, Extractive Industry Transparency Initiative Law, No-Go Zone Law, a repeal of the Electric Power Industry Reform Act, ratification of the Minamata Convention, Zero Hunger Law, Zero Food Waste Law, criminalizing of red tagging and labeling of IPs and IPOs as terrorist organizations. And then finally, legislation to ban single-use plastic products and packaging with interim reduction targets. Yan. Mahaba-haba po yung listahan, pero ito po yung mga batas na already filed o mga batas na ina-advocate ng iba't ibang mga miyembro ng Green Energy or ng Green Agenda na ipasa sa Kongreso, no? At naniniwala tayo na ito yung mga magsusulong ng Green Agenda natin. Allow me now to emphasize some of the legislative agenda that my organization and the networks that we belong to specifically advocate for. Una po, yung mga climate, energy, and power-specific bills. Ito po yung apat na yon. And before I expound on the objectives of these bills, pagbibigay lang po ng onting konteksto, ba't tayo naniniwala na mahalaga na yung ating mga kandidato, isama itong mga to sa kanilang plataforma. Una po, ang SEED po ay isang think new organization. So our work encompasses research advocacy and partnering with community CSOs in order to promote ecological justice, transformative energy, and people-centered development. So bahagi po nung aming isinusulong ay yung isa sa mga agenda no, na nabanggit na po kanina, yung transformative energy and energy democracy. At naniniwala po tayo na mahalaga ang just transition to a renewable energy system na batay sa democratic principles. Yung nagbibigay ng accessibility, affordability, at sustainability. At nararamdaman ng mga tao yung epekto ng malinis na kuryente sa pagbigay ng kalidad na buhay para sa kanila. No? Ngayon, bakit po mahalaga na na isama sa legislative agenda ng mga kandidato itong mga climate, energy, and power specific bills? Una po sa lahat, alam natin ang Pilipinas ay among the most disaster risk countries in the world. Consistent po tayo dyan in the past 2 decades. We are in the top 10 of German Watch's Climate Risk Index. Pero sa isa pa pong batayan, tayo ay number 1. Doon naman sa disaster prone index. Um, Last year, marami po tayong mga na-breach na mga unprecedented records po ito, no? Katulad na lang nung yung ambitious na limiting the global average temperature of the world to 1.5 degree, not more than 1.5 degrees Celsius. Ito ay target under the Paris Agreement. Na-breach natin to for 1 year. Ganon katagal na na-breach yung 1.5. So palala na po yung krisis sa klima. At para sa atin na among the most disaster-prone countries in the world, mahalaga na i-prioritize natin yung pagtugon sa krisis sa klima. Kasama doon yung pag-increase ng ating capacities to adapt and to become resilient, but also to solve the root cause of the crisis. At yun yung paggamit pa rin natin ng fossil fuels. Sa kasamaang palad, wala pa rin po tayong national policy that puts a stop to coal, the dirtiest fossil fuel. And worse, we are massively expanding another fossil fuel, and that's fossil gas and liquefied natural gas. Ngayon, bakit po mahalagang tingnan ang electricity o ang kuryente? Kasi ayon po sa datos ng Department of Energy, ang kuryente po ang highest share in terms of greenhouse gas emissions sa ating bansa. So makikita po natin yan dito, no, at 76%. Kaya po sa amin sa SEED, nag-commission po kami ng pag-aaral, no, na kaya ba natin mag-align ng ating power sector to 1.5 degrees Celsius. At ang magandang balita po, sinabi na kaya. Pero very ambitious po yung kailangan natin gawin na transition. Kung makikita nyo po dito, yung black line, ito yung ating business as usual scenario. Yung red ay the Clean Energy Scenario 1 under the Philippine Energy Plan that was recently passed by the Department of Energy. Yung yellow ay Clean Energy Scenario 2. But the blue line is the 1.5 degrees Celsius compatible scenario. Malayo po yung trajectory na gustong i-pursue ng ating pamahalaan versus kung saan ba tayo dapat patungo. Kaya po tayo naniniwala na mahalaga na magkaroon ng batas na ina-align ng ating pathway to 1.5 degree Celsius. Ano pong sinabi pagdating sa mga fossil fuels? Sabi po, coal phase out has to happen by 2035. That's a decade from now. Fossil gas phase out by 2040. A decade and a half from now. Ganun po ka-ambitious ang phase out na kailangan mangyari. And the current plans that we have are inadequate to align to 1.5. In terms of targets, ganito po kalaki yung kailangan natin increase for renewable energy from 35% to 89% by 2030, from 50% to 99% by 2040. Marami pong benefits. Sinasabi na this would generates 5 to 7 times more jobs. That would mean 48,000 additional jobs annually by 2040, 40,000 jobs by 2050. Total po over 1 million jobs if we align to 1.5. At ang maganda rin pong balita, mas mababa ang presyo ng kuryente. So the levelized cost of electricity will decrease compared to the business as usual scenario. Mas mahalaga pong usapin ngayon ang kuryente kasi pamahal ang presyo ng kuryente natin. I'm sure tayo po na mga naka-receive ng electricity bills recently, nakita natin, no, lahat tayo nag-increase yung ating electricity bill. At kung titingnan po natin, doon sa mga gumagamit ng liquefied natural gas, recently lang po sila gumamit. Dati po ang ginagamit pa ay malampaya gas, indigenous. Simula po nung nag-switch to LNG, nagmahal ang presyo ng kuryente ng mga plantang yon. Halimbawa po ang SPPC ng San Miguel Corporation, nung gumagamit pa siya ng Malampaya gas, it was ang lowest, sorry, hindi po lowest, ang last na presyo ay 4 pesos per kilowatt hour. When it switched, more than double na po ang latest price. It's at 10.54 pesos per kilowatt hour. This is a trend that is similar, yung pag-increase among all power plants na nag-switch to LNG. So hindi na lang po ito issue ng klima, environmental impacts, but also an issue of cost, yung presyo ng kuryente. Kaya po ito yung apat namin mungkahin namin no, na i-prioritize as part of the legislative agenda. Kailangan po natin ng batas na nagsasabi na mag-a-align tayo sa 1.5 degrees ambition ng Paris Agreement. Pangalawa po, the Klima Bill, which was already filed in Congress but wasn't approved yet. According to the groups who are championing the bill, this is a bill that establishes a legal framework for climate loss and damage accountability, the first of its kind in the world. So ito po yung batas na mag-open up ng possibility that we can hold corporate climate actors accountable for the impacts, specifically loss and damage that we are experiencing from the climate crisis. Mahalaga po that we hold them to account at ang mga communities that are suffering will get reparations. Siyempre po, if we want to align to 1.5, kadugtong doon, paano ba tayo mag-phase out? Ang tutok pa lang po dito ay coal. Banning new coal, phasing out operating coal, plants, and then yung review ng mga coal operating contracts. Kasama po dyan yung mga pagmimina ng coal, no? Siyempre, katulad po nung nabanggit po kanina, we also need to phase out other fossil fuels. So, kailangan din po, when we talk about the 1.5 specific bill, kasama din doon paano ba i-phase out ang fossil gas, LNG, ang diesel. Pang-apat, repealing the Electric Power Industry Reform Act. Ito po yung governing law ng power sector. Over 2 decades ago, naipasa and it privatized our power sector, and we are among those organizations who believe that the EPIRA failed to meet its objectives over 2 decades since its enactment. Mas mahal ang presyo ng kuryente, concentrated ang market share among a few, and the recent mergers from Meralco, Aboitiz, and San Miguel corporations, the biggest power conglomerates, are now, we believe, reaching even anti-competitive thresholds in the EPIRA. Ganun po ka-ineffective ang EPIRA. So we believe it's time to repeal EPIRA to ensure na we have electricity that's clean, affordable, and renewable energy. Now, allow me to go on to the last 3 bills that I want to highlight po. Yung no-go zone law, the Alternative Minerals Management Bill, and the Extractive Industry Transparency Initiative. SEED is part of a network called Protect VIP. They are composed of a diverse range of stakeholders, including civil society, faith-based, conservation experts, community members, and youth. And we raise awareness about a very important marine biodiversity hotspot. It's the Verde Island Passage po. It's threatened by many destructive or detrimental activities, among which is the massive expansion plans for gas and LNG. Mahalaga pong pag-usapan ito dahil hindi lang po VIP ang key biodiversity area in the Philippines. We have many more across the country. We are in fact one of 17 mega diverse countries in the world. Imagine niyo po, no? Almost 200 countries in the world, one of 17 lang tayo na mega diverse. That's how rich we are when it comes to our natural resources. And that means that we have a huge responsibility to care for our natural resources. That includes our species, but also our mineral resources. No, as I've mentioned, VIP is the epicenter of gas expansion. By our latest count, there are 30 out of the 35 gas and LNG power plants being proposed in the Philippines, 10 are in VIP. And then we have 5 LNG terminals, 2 already operating, 3 being proposed in the VIP. Alam din po natin that in the past 2 years, Verde Island Passage has been wrought with issues of oil spill and vessel accidents. The worst, now considered the worst oil spill in the history of the Philippines, happened in the Verde Island Passage, which is the center of marine shorefish biodiversity in the world. And until now, fisher folk in affected communities are asking for full reparations. Hindi pa po bayad lahat at hindi po just ang compensation for all. It is in this context po no, that we advocate for these three laws. Mahalaga that we enact a law that would declare unsustainable, extractive, industrial, environmentally, or socially harmful activities um, prohibited in certain areas of the country that are considered key biodiversity areas and habitats. So they should be declared as no-go zones. We've seen this done for mining operations before through an executive order, but we want a bill that would institutionalize this, and not just for mining operations, but even for other activities that are considered harmful. And of course, nandyan po when it comes to our mineral resources, the AMND, a bill that's being advocated for decades now, that scraps the Philippine Mining Act. It seeks to champion conservation of non-renewable mineral resources for the benefit of present and future generations. We want something that's sustainable, rational, needs-based when it comes to minerals management, and one that benefits our communities and not um, export-oriented and benefits others. No? And panghuli po yung EITI law. EITI is the global standard that promotes open, accountable management and good governance of oil, gas, and mineral resources. We are currently part of this initiative, one of around 50 countries that are part of this initiative. And we were made part of this through an executive order. Ang mahalaga po ay institutionalize this via national law so that it's something that will be really part of our governance when it comes to our extractive industries. At syempre maganda rin po na eventually we look at transparency in other sectors as well. So I'll leave it at that po. I hope that during the open discussions, other organizations would also be able to expound on the other proposed legislative agenda. Maraming salamat po sa lahat.
All right. Thank you very much for Attorney Avril de Torres for introducing us the Green Legislative Agenda. These are indeed strong points to address the environmental, climate, and human rights issues of our country. Of course, in line with the discussions on just transition, the legislative agenda is very important, lalo na the Philippines, as mentioned, is one of the most disaster risk countries. So policies should indeed be in place for our country, no, in a genuinely inclusive and just way to ensure sustainability, lalo na in terms of energy. So many branches are attached sa usaping energy and even mining, no, environmental friendliness, corporate interest, and especially cost. Cost is a major concern then, as Attorney Abril had mentioned, of course, among many other related ecological concerns. So, all right, thank you very much po ulit, Attorney Abril de Torres. So, after knowing the various issues faced by our country and what policies we should look for in candidates to address these issues, we have the National Coordinator of the Philippine Miserior Partnership Incorporated to give the profile of the Green Agenda candidates. Friends, a warm welcome to Miss Yolanda Yoli Esquera. Makakalikasang araw po.
Hello, teka, magandang hapon sa lahat. Nakikita na ba ako? Ayan. Hello.
Hi, Yoli.
Hi, Tessa. How are you? Oo.
Nice to see you.
Nice to see you too. Nakikita na ba yung ano ko? Yung presentation na ba ako? Wala pa.
Yeah, we see it.
You see it?
Oo.
Bakit di ko nakikita naka-present? Ano ba yun? This one, share, okay. Yan. Do you see it? yung slides na?
Yes po,
Yes.
yes.
Ayun, okay. Sige, thank you. Sige, so what I would like to share to you is a project of PMPI called Power of Purple. Power of Purple because we understand and I think lahat tayo naniniwala na election kumbaga exercise of democracy na pinakamalawak kung maaring magbunga ng mga pagbabago sa lipunan kung mababago natin ang sistema ng kasalukuyan nating eleksyon na kung saan ay pera, goons, gold, fake news, popularity contest ang namamayani. But as mga network ng mga NGOs involved in education work. So, noong 2006 nagsimula kami nito panahon nila Leni at ni Duterte, no? To give, nagtatanong kasi ang mga members din namin. They don't have the information nitong mga tumatakbo ng panahon na yan. So we thought of having to profile yung mga tumatakbong mga kandidato nung panahon na yon. And since then, ay tuwing merong mga na eleksyon, ay ginagawa namin ito. So, ang difference lang din ngayon is because we had the green agenda. Yung perspective ng green agenda was also, of course, included in the profiling of the current candidates ngayon. So, Power of Purple yan kasi purple, di ba, sa eleksyon ay ang tawag dito, gumagamit tayo ng purple ink na nilalagay sa ating kamay o daliri, no, at nagta-thumb mark tayo. So kaya tinawag namin the power of purple, the power of an electoral exercise sana kung mababago lang at magagamit natin ito ng mahusay. So yung ano na ito, research focuses on kinlaster namin para mas maging maintindihan ng tao na madali. Kasi kung maraming agenda, maraming mga issues, no, baka mahirap na ipaliwanag. Kaya dito, may 4 na thematic concerns kami and you can see dito merong kalagay na GA 5710. Ito yung mga green agenda kung saan ka-incorporate yung green agenda na binanggit kanina ni JB, no? So tiningnan namin krisis sa klima at mga sikuna, proteksyon sa kalikasan, pagsasaka at pangisda, kabuhayan ng mga vulnerableng sektor. So ang TMPI nag-reference kami, nag-research kami on these 4 thematic concerns. And tiningnan namin itong mga kasalukuyan nating candidates, ano ang tindig, no? Ano ang profile nila in relation dito sa mga themes or thematic areas na ito. And the research, of course, is done, table research, online, and sources are verifiable nasa website namin doon sa mga nakuha nating information and data about them. So in general, itong 4 na ito, no, we look at the stances and the actions ng mga candidates, no. Pag sinabing climate crisis and disaster, kung sila ba ay malapit, malayo, o against doon sa perspective ng PMPI at ng Green Agenda sa mga usaping ito. So, like for climate crisis and disasters, syempre yung pagpapalakas nung meaningful participation ng mga communities natin at pag-empower sa kanila to address the risks no sa baba no, and yung concept ng pag-achieve ng climate justice na diniscuss kanina din previously. So environmental protection, the general framework is really upholding the rights of nature, and yung stewardship, real protection, coming from yung perspective at lente ulit ng mga communities at mga indigenous people. So that means including perspective ng mga pumapasok na mga corporate development projects no na nakakasira ng kalikasan. Anong mga stance nila dito ay tinitingnan natin. Sa agriculture and fisheries, of course, no, how our small fisher folks are able to access no ano ba tingin nila dito, and also yung usapin ng pollution in ating mga land and seas no, na kaya yung promotion ng sustainable agriculture, agroecology against, for example, sa ano to sa chemical use no, more on organic no, do they support this perspective? And then syempre yung livelihood and vulnerable sector, kung may ano ang mga posisyon nila sa usapin ng basic rights nung sabi ko din na food, clothing, shelter, wages, everything no. Dito siya dito sa apat na ito sa lente na to tiningnan, pinrofile sila. So nag-start kami January So tiningnan namin nag-decide kami sino yung ipo-profile. Siyempre, ang gusto muna naming i-profile, yung nung sa social weather survey, no, SWS survey, yung voters preference, sino ba yung popular? Kasi malamang iyon yung iboboto, no? So, we had nung December, end ng December, kasi nag-start kami ng research January, kinuha namin yung December, yung 14 na most popular, yun yung ni-research namin. And then sa network, ang ginawa din namin, we asked our network members, kayo ba kung kayo ay magboboto ngayon, sino yung iboboto nyo? Choose 12. So bumoto yung network. And then so nung nakuha namin yung 12 ay iyon din, yung binigay ng aming network ay pinrofile namin. So, actually, nagpadala rin kami ng survey sana no, sa mga candidates. Pero yung balik nito ay mahirap kasi I think busy na rin sila. No? But at least we were able to share to them ano yung agenda and legislative agenda, in fact, yung nakalagay dito kung isusupport nila o hindi. No, yon. Ito yung ito yung 14 plus 12 na lumabas no, na gusto naming i-profile. Kung papansin niyo doon sa popular senatorial candidates no, vis-a-vis doon sa binoto ng network ng PMPI, wala lahat yung popular. Wala lahat yung popular. By sense, itong 12 na ito ang lumabas. So kaya we decided that sige, so all these candidates ay i-profile natin so that yung ating mga kasamahan, yung public will know no, ano yung mga tindig nila sa mahahalagang issue lalo na ng environment. So ganito po yung ginamit na rating no tiningnan muna namin, may 3 categories para titingnan sila. So yung unang category, may mga batas. Ano yung mga batas o mga policies na tinulak nila? No? So, ni-research yun. Tapos, may mga programs and initiatives or projects ba sila na sinuportahan o in-initiate? Tapos, yung pangatlong category, may mga, kung wala mang initiatives or projects, may mga pronouncement at advocacies ba sila na nilalabas hinggil sa mga issue na ito, no? So iyan ang categories. Kaya tiningnan uh, in the 4 thematic concerns. So bali may 4 thematic concerns ka, titingnan mo itong 3 ito, no, na area. And then, inad namin, nirate namin sila para mas madaling maintindihan ng tao. Sabi namin, kailangan yung easily understandable. No? Kapag may check, ibig sabihin, mas okay siya sa perspective at tindig ng mga posisyon ng network, ng Green Agenda. X, negative, ibig sabihin against siya or opposite, no? O kabila. Ambivalent, hindi siya masyadong maintindihan kung minsan ang kanyang posisyon ay nebulous, no? Hindi malinaw. Not applicable, none, zero, kung wala kaming nakita o walang nakitang stand, wala kaming nakitang nilabas kahit na ano. And then, not applicable, mayroon kasing mga ilang candidates na bago pa lang, newbie. So wala pa silang policies na or batas na i-file o na i-post. So nilagyan namin ng not applicable sa kanila yon. So kaya nagtitingnan, no, nilagyan din pala namin na gusto naming ma-rate din. Kung meron silang plus, X, and minus, nilagyan namin ng corresponding points. Yung check, X, and ano. So, makikita nyo dito, no? Yung ano. So, plus 1, dun sa green, positive. Pag ambivalent, may 0.5. Pag not applicable, walang count naman kasi that applicable sa kanila. Tapos kapag no position or no stand, may negative because we think that sila dapat ay may stand at mga posisyon na inilalabas sa mga issue bilang mga leader at public servants. And then, X ay -1. So, dilagyan namin ng score yung check X 0, not applicable. Tiningnan din namin yung red flag. Yung red flag naman ay about their performance and perspectives doon ulit sa 3 categories tinitingnan. On human rights, may issue ba sila ng human rights, no? May issue ba sila ng good governance or corruption, no? So tiningnan din namin 'yon and nakita namin na merong mga maraming issue, meron ding mga konti lang, meron ding wala, no? So kaya sa scoring nilagyan din po namin pag isa lang may -1, pag 2 to 3 -1.5, pag hanggang sa pataas ng pataas. Imagine merong mga hanggang 8, no, pataas na mga tumatakbo tayo na may mga red flags, may maraming mga issue on human rights and corruption. So, sa ganito, no, na rating, ganito po ang lumabas, no? So, pag titingnan nyo si Abby Binay, yung isa sa pinaka top doon sa mga popular senatorial candidates. At pag sa ilalim, titingnan nyo po si si De La Rosa or ang ano, no? Tapos, ang kapag pinaliwanag po ito, meron po tayong paper na nasa ating website. Makikita ninyo yung basis, bakit may check, bakit may X. So halimbawa lang, itong si Erwin Tulfo, bakit may X siya dyan, sinuport niya yung rice tariffication law, for example. So sa amin, hindi yung dapat, so naka-X siya. So ganun po. So available yung rating, why these ratings doon sa ating website. Tapos, so meron silang rating, ito yon, pinapakita lang namin po, pero ayan na po yung ano nila, ah, kumbaga yung rating sa pinakamataas hanggang pinakamababa. Sa alternative senatorial candidates, ganito naman po ang lumabas. No? Si Kiko Pangilinan ang number 1, si Kadodoy yung sumunod, si Bam Aquino yung third. Ayan, so makikita nyo po dito yung rating, kumbaga. So sa amin, ang perspective, hindi namin sila ini-endorse. What we're saying is that these are their profile. And you can choose doon sa senatorial popular candidate kung meron kayo na napupusuan doon. Pero tingnan nyo yung kanilang performance, yung kanilang profile, no? And then you decide, no? Kung baga, natin, ganito po ang lalabas na itsura kung kino-combine. Kung ang mga tao ay magko-combine ng kanilang candidates, gagamitin yung ating template ng profiling. So mangunguna po si Kiko, ayan, si Kadodoy, si Bam, si Teacher Franz, no? Pero papasok po si Binay, si Tulfo, at saka si Lacson, no? All the rest, pag nakita nyo, ay mas yung alternative po ang papasok. Sinusubukan po itong education materials na ito ng aming mga partners sa kanilang community. Gusto ko pong ipakita sa inyo ito, yung epekto kapag diniscuss ito sa kanila. Ang ginagawa po kasi, una, meron munang mock election, hindi pa dinidiscuss yung profile. No? So pag titingnan nyo sa mock election nila, sa MASIC ito, no, makikita na si Tulfo, yung una, si Bong Revilla, si Binay, so ito yung mga popular, hindi po ba? So after mag-discussion at ginamit yung power of purple, ayan po ang resulta ng after mock election. So bumoto po ulit yung mga nandun sa forum at ito po yung lumabas na. No? So yun lang po siguro ang gusto naming i-share. So we're saying that we are not really endorsing, but we wanted people to see and decide for themselves, no? Kung nakikita nila ano yung mga ginagawa at alam nila yung ginagawa ng ating mga kandidato. So yung diwa po ng green agenda, no? In a way, dito sa profiling na ito, ay dala-dala niya kung siya ay may check, no? And hopefully ito po ay gamitin kasi sabi natin yung ang diwa po nitong green agenda natin ay really sabi nga ni JB, mahirap mang ipaliwanag yung koneksyon, how connected yung environment doon sa usapin ng job, ang tawag dito, kabuhayan at health, no? Pero nakasalalay po talaga yung buong buhay natin doon sa protection ng ating environment. So, ang pagbibigay po ng prioridad sa kagalingan ng kalikasan at sa mga vulnerableng mamamayan ay kinakailangan pong dalhin at sa eleksyon na ito ay maging measure para sa ating pagboto. Alam po natin na we need to have a new social system that takes into account yung symbiotic relationship ng lahat ng nilikha, no? We live in one common home. We only have one Mother Earth, and yung fate po ng Mother Earth and our planet is actually our future. So yun po, sana ay makatulong ito ang Power of Purple. This is available pag tiningnan niyo po itong https://pmpi.org, so you can get all the materials and result po ng ating profiling. So maraming salamat po.
Wow. Thank you, Yoli. Nako, titignan ko talaga to kasi kulang pa ako sa aking mga senatorial choices, no? Hindi
Yes.
pa ako maabot ng 12 kasi hindi nga natin kilala yung iba.
Yes, oo.
Dito sa
Dear
ginawa
Tessa.
ninyo, o itong Power of Purple, pwede natin silipin yung assessment na ginawa at baka pwedeng pag-aralan pa yung mga pwedeng maging candidates natin para sa
Yes.
senators. Oo.